Let's build a floating bed out of 1x and 2x lumber. I'm going to show you how I did that without using any screws. Let's take a look at the materials that we bought. We've got 21x3 by 8 foot long fairing strips, and they're going to go along the top to support the mattress. We've got 8 of these 2x4 by 8 foot long studs that are Select grade. That's going to be the support inside the box. And then we have 3 2x6 by 8s, and they are going to be the box itself that you'll see on the outside. In terms of hardware, we have 1.5" finish nails. That's what we're going to attach the fairing strips with, along with some glue. Got Type Bond 2 premium wood glue. I like that stuff. Fine finish pull saw. It's got 19 teeth per inch, so the teeth are in such a way that it'll allow for fine cuts. So hopefully it'll be good on this soft wood. We're going to find out. We're going to get out of this cramped space here in just a second, but this is the only footage I had of putting together the initial box. So bear with me as you watch me and my helper here work in this cramped space to get the initial box built. So the bed we're working on is going to be used for a twin XL mattress, which is basically a longer than normal twin mattress. That's the XL piece. It's just about 6 inches longer, I believe. So this long piece here is the length of that plus I believe 1.5 inches, which the Google AI told me is typical, 1.5 to 3 inches longer than what the mattress usually is what beds have in terms of extra length. So we get the box built, as you can see, and now I'm going to use 2x4s in the middle for the supports. So we're going to line those up to where everything meets on the bottom, and then that's going to give us the space at the top to put our slats across the boards for the mattress support. And then it's going to give us just enough lip to where the mattress is not flat on the platform, because I was worried that it might move as you get in and out of the bed. So by leaving a little bit of a lip there, the mattress has got something to keep it from shifting. And so far so good. So I think that was a good move. I tried to put some cardboard shims in all the places to make it as level as I could on the bottom, but as you can see, this is a mess, and I'm working in way too cramped of a spot, and I had no business making all this sawdust in the house. So we're quickly going to get out of here. That clamp that you see is 8 feet, and what I did is I took a piece of 8 foot gas pipe from the big box store and put the pipe clamps on it, and that gave me the length that I needed to put the squeeze on these boards once I got them all set in place. I'm too cheap to buy multiple lengths of it, so I just used one and put it in the middle, and we're going to secure them with dowels here in just a second, so you'll see what I did there for the added strength to make sure those boards did not move after they were put in place. The project cost, I did not show that earlier, was about $130, I believe, and that was for the materials and the little handsaw that I bought to cut the dowels with. So that was the total for the project. Now that's obviously minus any tools that I had for the project. So most DIY people probably are going to have those tools anyway. If you don't, it's probably a good investment if this is going to be more than just a one-off project. Alright, so I've got my cordless drill here, Forester bit, and I'm using a 5/8 inch dowel, so that's what size bit I have. I'm just barely going to put it in my drill. And the reason why that is because I'm trying to get as much length as I possibly can out of it so that I can use the longest possible piece of dowel rod to hold this together. Okay, so as you probably saw, I got a little rough with one of these pins that I was knocking in, and it chipped a piece of the side of this 2x4 out. So don't try to knock those dowels in like your life depends on it. There's really no sense in it. So the dowel's only going to go in what a couple light taps is going to allow it. You're not going to like create new paths for the doggone thing. So don't do stupid crap like I just did. But what we're going to do to fix it is we put a bunch of glue down in there. And so now I'll take a couple clamps and just clamp this until it dries, and we should be okay. But just remember, this is soft wood, and I'm not trying to win no strongman contest here. I'm going to take this clamp, there. Okay. Glue here like so. Like so. Both sides. Center it. Make sure it's fairly square. to do is put this on my center and then take my square on the other side, put it up against there like so. Okay, and I'm also going to make sure we're touching up here. And we clamp this bad boy. Right, here's what we're going to do for our legs. These outside, we got 3 2x4s. They're going to go together like this. We're going to glue them up, and then I'm going to put some dowels all the way through. And this will essentially be one of our legs. These are 18 inches long. This is minus 3.5 inches, so that it'll slide onto one of those 2x4s just like that. Now what we're going to do is on one side we're going to cut a slot, because I'm going to strategically place these where it'll look like a T. We're going to catch a 2x4 going in 2 directions, so that hopefully it'll lock this leg in and then also provide some stability for the bed. So let's go, and I'm going to cut the outside board on each one of these on the table saw, and then we'll start gluing these up. On these slats that we're starting to put across, they are basically cut to length, and I'm going to space them a nail's width apart. So I'm just going to take a couple of those finished nails, put them up against the end of the box there, get my first space, and then I'm going to drive 2 finished nails into each of the 3 2x4s that are going across there. So each one of those slats is going to have 6 nails in it, and as you can see, there's nothing going to support them on the very end of each. I'm just going to leave that hanging, if you will, but there's hardly any flex whatsoever. You've got to press on it pretty hard in order to get it to move. So as you can see me testing it there, so I felt pretty good about not necessarily having a board attached on each end to support that. I went back and forth in my head on whether I was going to attach a 2x4 there, but in the end I think it was the right call. So again, just taking a couple of finished nails and sticking them in between the boards to make sure I've got the same spacing all the way across, and then I'm going to just rinse and repeat until we get boards across all the way, and we'll go from there. The way I'm measuring these is putting the board up toward the top, so we don't want it to be at an angle when you measure it, and then just mark it. I think maybe there's a nail's width on the end a little bit, so if there is any expansion, we'll cover for that. So I won't bore you with all the cutting and nailing. We'll just go straight into after the boards all get installed. The next thing I had on my mind was making this top surface as smooth as possible, because I did not want the mattress to be rubbing up against splinters and the like. My goal there was just to take this Harbor Freight finish sander, or it's not a it's a surface, it's called a surface prep tool. It's actually for automotive use, but I have found it just as useful in the woodworking world, and probably used it on just as many woodworking projects as I have cars already. I think it's been a good investment all the way around. I really like it. You can get different pads for it. So I've got a pretty coarse wheel on it at the moment, and I'm having some luck with smoothing it out, but it still isn't what I was hoping for. And of course you can see you can't get all the way up against the sides like you probably want either. So I got a different tactic that I'm going to go with to get it the final smoothness that I like, and you'll see that here in just a moment. when you're working this flame back and forth, experiment with how far you need to hold the flame back to get the most, I want to say penetration, but I don't know if that's the right word. If you notice, if I put the flame just like right up on it, you would think that it's just should be doing all kinds of burning, and while it is to some degree, it's you can you can hold back to the tip of the flame, that is, and it'll burn much greater. Here's how it turned out. It's the bottom side of it, of course. And looking at the top of it, and I went ahead and burnt this because I had trouble getting it all sanded. Probably the best thing to have done would have been to sand these boards individually before they were put on, but that's can be some trouble in of itself depending on what kind of tools you have available. So what I did was, instead of sanding all the rough edges, I burn them off, and you won't be able to see that part of it anyway, but it turned that top into a pretty smooth surface for the mattress to sit on. So I'm pleased with the way that turned out. And then the sides turned out pretty good as well. Happy with that. There's the dowels. All right, there's the final product. I stuck a light under there to kind of give an idea of what it looks like. No LEDs under there, but I think it would look good. But there's your floating bed. There's a look underneath it. It turned out pretty good, I think. So the right length, I went by the stock measurements of the mattress and then hoped that that was right. I think I added an inch on each side maybe, just to make sure that the thing was long enough. But yep, it turned out good, I believe. Let's turn the light out, let's see how that looks. Yeah, it would definitely look better with some purpose LEDs, similar to probably what he's got on the ceiling, but kind of gives you an idea of what's going on there. Again, you kind of have to get down low to see the legs, so I think it does meet the definition of a floating bed. And of course, there's the Here's the frame itself. Let me turn the light back on. So the finish always looks different in the light that you know, having the final resting place, which I think does it favors in this case, as opposed to all the different lights I had going on in the shop. So I think it turned out well. I'll get us some LEDs under there, and I believe it'll turn out pretty good. All in all, I am pleased. And he slept on it for 2 nights and it hasn't fell to the ground, so that must mean that it's pretty stable. I'll do a quick, there's no, you can sit on the corner and there's no moving of the thing. It's really heavy, so the frame being heavy, it kind of helps with the stability too, of course. But those 4 legs is all that it needs, which is essentially 3 2x4s. But it seems to be enough stability to keep it still and not slide against the floor. I thought about the rubber bumpers on the bottoms, but then you lose the surface contact of the whole 2x4 underneath. So I just opted just to leave it as is, no rubber feet, and just pray that it doesn't move, which he's got it up against the wall anyway. It turned out good. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.